As a father of two, Lance Williams sees every Christmas as a time to make special memories with his family. But what happened Christmas 2004 will always be etched in his mind. Earlier that year, on May 10th, Lance was on his way home to be with family. He was single and soon to be commissioned as an officer in the United States Army. His mother, Connie, remembers.
It was actually one of those moments when everything is perfect in your life. We were all having a big dinner at my house, and we were getting ready. Lance was late, and I was, as usual, I thought.
But Lance never arrived.
Hello?
Instead, Connie got a phone call. Her son had been in an accident.
I thought we'd go get him and bring him home, and with a broken leg.
But it was worse than she could have imagined. Lance's accident became a headline on the evening news.
A motorcyclist was critically injured. Investigators say the driver of the motorcycle, 21-year-old Lance Williams, collided with a Ford Explorer, got pinned under the truck. For Walton Beach, police say the driver of the SUV is charged with failure to yield.
Connie and her husband rushed to the hospital where church members, friends, and family had already gathered to pray. They waited for the doctor's report.
I didn't know they were going to tell me he died. So, it's hard.
Finally, they got the news that Lance was alive, but he had broken his neck and his spinal cord was partially severed. The doctors said he would most likely be a quadriplegic.
You just never think that it's going to happen to you. At the same time, I'm a Christian, so I had faith that no matter what, you know, I could make it through, but I sure didn't want to hear what they had to say.
While Lance underwent surgery, more people joined in prayer. Doctors were able to repair his spine, but said Lance had only a 5% chance of ever walking again. By now, Lance had regained consciousness. He says even while trapped under the SUV, he felt God's peace.
The very first thing that I did was I prayed the Lord's Prayer instantly because I didn't know if I was gonna die or not. I wasn't scared because I knew where I was gonna go. In that moment, I knew where I would go if I was to die. I forgave the guy underneath the vehicle, not even knowing who this guy was. And that forgiveness to that guy right then and there was probably the start of my true healing.
Though the pain was often unbearable, he worked hard at rehab and continued to pray for a full recovery. After 90 days, he got a sign that God was listening.
With myself praying, moving my hand, and with the help of God, that was the first thing that happened that I was just like, I knew I was gonna be fine.
Once he crossed that bridge, his rehabilitation moved quickly, surprising even doctors. Finally, he went home. He was still in a wheelchair, but he had his heart set on one goal: to walk down the aisle at church to receive communion on Christmas Eve.
Because it's the best day of the year.
Then after just 7 months of rehab, Lance was ready to take a step of faith. He was at church, and it was Christmas Eve.
I told my stepdad, I said, I want to walk up for communion. And that's when I stood up, and I was at the back, and I walked all the way up there.
He did it all the way. We have a big church, all the way from the back. And I remember the people around me in the choir said, Connie, that's a long way. That's all I said, yes, it is, you know. It was my personal answer to prayer, and it was just, you know, God gave his son, and it was like my son was given to me. You know, that was a real significant moment. It was a gift.
I knew I'd hit the goal that I wanted to hit, but I knew I was going to show everybody what God had done for me. And that I knew that everybody had witnessed a miracle.
Today, you can find Lance working up a sweat at the gym and spending time with his wife, Gabby, and their 2 daughters.
It means the world that I know that God has given me my life back. I do have a little bit of paralysis still. However, I have a wonderful family. After I was told I never would have children, I can pretty much do everything that a normal able-bodied person can. I'm very thankful for what God's done in my life. Even though I had to go through that hard time, I'm super, super excited what He's done for me. And I know He's not done with the healing. And if I have to wait until I join Him in heaven to be completed, then that's fine with me because I'm happy. It really is amazing where I am and what God has done in my life and what He continues to do in my life.